In this video, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the making of this box, which was covered in my last video, and then get into the details of making the matching lid. Let's get started. If you haven't seen my previous video, I'll give you a quick summary of the making of the box and jump right into creating the lid. The base structure of the box is made out of scrap corrugated cardboard, which I took from old boxes, glued it together. Now I'm going through and wrapping it in chipboard. This is to smooth out all the finished surfaces. I prefer this technique over using solid chipboard because I have so many more scrap cardboard boxes. Just make sure you cover all the faces that are going to be seen. Once I had the base box complete, I wrapped it using this green paper. I demonstrated a couple of different techniques for wrapping. I explained a few options depending on which tools you have available. The final two flaps on the end of the box are visible at the end, so just spend a few extra minutes making sure you miter the corners here and try to get a nice clean finish. It'll just make your box look a lot cleaner when it's done. I then lined the inside. I added a little seal and signature just to denote that the box is handcrafted. If you're going to put the time in to custom make something, it adds a nice little touch and lets the recipient know this is something special. That gives you a quick review of the making of the box. Let's move on to making the lid. There are as many ways to make lids as there are boxes. One of the most common ways to make lids is to have a lid that slips on top, and you can actually create a duplicate box just like this, make it a little larger, decide how much you want to overlap, and basically slip it on top upside down and you'll have a lid. I'll try to demonstrate that in future videos. For this, especially because it's a shallow box, I'd rather create a lid that is flush with the outside and sits on top. I'll demonstrate one technique that I think is really simple and creates a nice looking lid. I've pre-cut some cardboard pieces. These two pieces are the exact same size as the pieces that went on the bottom of the box. So when making the box, make one or more extra pieces the same size as the bottom. They can come in useful for a lid. The reason I'm going to use two is I want to give the lid some thickness. Rather than having a thin little shoebox style lid sitting on top, I'd rather have it feel a bit more substantial. So I'm going to stack 2 layers of corrugated to give it some thickness. And then I'm basically going to use the same technique of wrapping it. Now take these two pieces, glue them together. I'm going to wrap the sides in chipboard just like the box. That'll make it look the same as well as line up dimensionally. And this piece is going to cover the top. Letting these steps rest with some weight keeps them flat. The next thing I did is I cut up a piece of chipboard, a couple of millimeters less than the inside opening of this box. So this drops in. I want it a little thicker, so I'm going to double this up, and only one layer is going to be the finished surface, so I can use up some scrap pieces just to give it some thickness. And I'm going to clean up this edge, just following the main piece. So this will create like a 2-3 millimeter thick piece. All right, and I'm going to do the same to clean up this piece, just following along the edge. I'm going to take a thicker piece and wrap it with the same green that was used for the box. So I'm going to use the same paste glue. So from what I understand, this paste glue does not cause as much wrinkling of the thin papers. It allows the paper to lay flat, but I am finding it harder to use, and you seem to need a lot more of it. And because it's fairly thick, I'm going to treat these corners like the box itself. I'm going to cut straight away from these corners, like that. More of the paste glue, working it into the edge here. Glue the opposite side. And lastly, glue the two remaining sides. I'm just going to eyeball that. So basically putting a miter from this corner, going this way, from this corner. This miter is not going to be seen as much as the miters on the top of the box. So an estimate is good enough over here. Back to the second piece. This piece we're going to mount on the inside, and we're going to cover that in the matching interior of the box. Same process. Get some glue across here. Just want to put it in the same orientation. The good side is the one that will be seen. Cut off the excess. Treat this like you're wrapping a small hardcover book and miter these corners. You're basically allowing about 1.5 times the thickness of the material. So you don't want to cut right to the corner. Whatever the thickness of your material is, allow about 1.5 times that. And then glue these flaps. Now the smaller piece is going to be positioned on the inside. And here's a simple trick you can use to center this. Basically, you're going to put glue on this, place it here, and if you can, place a weight on this while the glue is wet. So even if this is mispositioned, quickly close the top and then use the top to center the box. Unfortunately, this weight is too big because how shallow the box is, that weight is a little too big. Let me just throw this phone on here. We just need a little bit of weight. It's basically to tack it in place. Okay, so while the glue dries, so let's say you're mispositioned like this, put the box on, You catch it, you line it up, get all the sides flush, and then you lift it off, and it's in the right position. All right, now for the actual gluing, I'm going to keep it a little bit in from the edges, just so nothing oozes out and sticks on the main box itself. You don't really have to fix the rest of this. Get it pretty close, set your weight on it, and then flip your box over on it and use it to align. Remove the box, remove your weight, and then put a heavier weight on it, or even two, and then let this set. And there you have it, a simple custom-made gift box with a matching custom lid. The nice thing about this approach, you end up with a box that feels substantial. This lid has some thickness to it. It goes well with the box, and it just elevates the box a bit rather than the conventional thin lids you're going to find at the store. As I said before, there's so many ways to create lids. I'll try to share more in future videos. This is just one of the simplest ways of doing it. Hope you'll try making one of these yourself. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Your feedback is very helpful for me to understand if you find any of this useful. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. See you next time. God bless.